Welcome back to the Law and Crime Network. I'm Kenney Baden. As you know, the case of Georgia versus the Rosenbaums is in a break right now, so we are going to go back into an interesting case, Michigan versus Hassel. Kemia Hassel is on the phone with her mother from jail, and they are playing these calls. Let's listen to them. Wow. I was beginning to think, okay, maybe the false confession evidence the defense will present will be very good because, yeah, we had an expert on yesterday who saw her and she wasn't talking much to the police. The police were talking to her and she may have been regurgitating. But I want to bring my guest in, Roger Foley, who you know well. Roger is from Florida. Roger was a Golden Gloves champion. Sometimes he's going to bring his boxing gloves here. He went to what college, university was that, Roger?
Alabama Crimson Tide.
There you go. Roll Tide. Okay, so let's roll Tide a little bit. Roger, what I didn't hear her say to her mama is, Mom, I'm not guilty.
Yeah, that's very concerning for the defense, Linda, because obviously you could make arguments about her admissions to police, about the 7-hour interview, but talking to her own mom on a call that she knows is recorded, and she's not saying, Mom, I didn't do it. Mom, I didn't have anything to do with it. It's concerning. She's saying, yeah, I kind of knew what was going on and I feel bad, but I did it.
And more, the undersheriff, Mr. Charles Height, who is putting the tapes in that are recorded in all jails now, allegedly for safety, but is used in trials, I think, more than in determining safety, said that she also was asked by her mom, why'd you do it? And according to Height, we didn't necessarily hear it well on the jailhouse tape, but there was an admission that she did it for the money, the insurance policies.
I mean, that's the motivator of all evil, is it not? So, I didn't hear it on the tape either, but they're obviously playing it for the jury, and the custodian of records is saying that that's what was said. So I'm sure we'll hear it a little bit better on the recording, but there's also a statement that she made to police that also said that same thing, that there was insurance money, I believe $400,000, and that would help them, walk away from this.
Yeah, there was $100,000 direct policy and then $400,000 in other benefits I guess they could buy. And I heard this morning from our law and crime analyst, Gene Rossi, that all of that is non-taxable. So that becomes even a bigger motive when you think it's really worth maybe double, correct, than the $500,000 total. It would be worth $1 million essentially because it's non-taxable. So if you got $1 million, took the taxes off, you'd be at $500,000. Here it's the other way, right?
Yeah, that's going to take a long time to earn as a specialist in the U.S. Army to come up with $800,000 or $1 million.
Well, Roger, you only get, you're in danger, we always say, in the crime business from the one you love. The one you love is the one that could kill you. And we're going to hear more about the Kemia Hassel trial and more coming up. Stay tuned. We have to take a quick break. Well, you didn't miss anything because while we were in break, guess what happened? The state rested and the court is taking a break in the trial of Michigan versus Kemia Hassel. So I'd like to talk to Roger Foley again briefly. Roger, it seemed to me when the sheriff just talked about the 2 phone calls, they occurred, and he said, and I will quote it, on January 12th, 2019 at 7:12 p.m. And that date's important because that's the date Kemia Harris was arrested and put in jail. Hassel was arrested and put in jail. I'm sorry, I keep thinking about Silence of the Lambs and the writer of that and thinking about how awful this is and equating her in my mind with that. So her name is Hassel, so she may not be that awful because she hasn't been convicted. But Roger, it's more important that these admissions occur on the date she's arrested, correct?
It does, because that's when you're going to reach out to your family. You're going to say, hey, I just been arrested. This is what I've been arrested for. I have a bond or I don't have a bond. Can you help me? And unfortunately, it sounds like she started having a conversation with her mother about the facts of the case, which she should have known that all calls are recorded and they will be used against you. Not may, they will be used against you. And here we are, because I think this is the most damning evidence, the conversation between her and her mother.
And by the next day, she probably had a lawyer who reinforced that. So you heard the undersheriff say, well, the other calls really were about the case. But the problem with that is if she talks to her lawyer, then talks to somebody else, they can hear, even though they're not supposed to listen to it, facts that the lawyer told her, right? Because technically those calls are not privileged. It's only the lawyer calls that are privileged, right?
Correct. When you're speaking with your attorney, it's privileged and they can't record those calls. But if a third party's present, which happens a lot of times where the person will call their lawyer using a third party, then the privilege doesn't exist because there's a third party on the phone. So yeah, not privileged if she shares information either through a third party or talks to a third party about what her attorney told her.
Love getting into the inside of all these cases, but right now let's go to something very serious. That was when the victim's father, Tyrone Harris Jr., who is the father of Tyrone Hassel, Tyrone Hassel Jr., who's the father of Tyrone Hassel III, was on the stand, and he is the one who saw his son dead. Let's listen to the heartbreak. The shooter who killed, according to the state, Tyrone Hassel III was a man named Jeremy Cuellar, who was the lover of Tyrone Hassel III's wife, Kemia, who is now on trial. Roger, Foley, when you have a wife who, according to the defense that will occur, we believe, when Cuellar goes on trial, that she's the mastermind. She wanted him to kill her husband so they could get the life insurance because she knew about it and get back. According to him, possibly she was, somebody who they planned it with, maybe not the mastermind, maybe they were both masterminds. For sentencing purposes, does it matter?
Does it matter if she was the mastermind?
Right. For sentencing purposes, Roger, does it matter whether she basically hires through sex somebody to kill her husband, or it's just like goes along with the man she's having an affair with?
I think either way, if she took any part in it, and it sounds like she did based on the evidence that we've just heard, then no, I think either way, it's just a horrific thing, and she's looking at maximum sentences here.
Now, we understand that the military may be trying to get the $100,000 life insurance policy back that they may have paid to her. But wouldn't it come back and then go to the estate and then go to chunk, or are those just for surviving spouses? Do you know anything about it? I don't. I wasn't in the military.
I don't, but I mean, good luck getting it back because we don't know what happened to the $100,000. Was it spent? I doubt they're going to get it back because I don't know what the time difference was. I think we said February she was arrested, right? So January. He died on New Year's Eve. That gives about 2 months. Maybe they had the money for 30 days. That money may be long gone. Yeah, January. But now you know what happened this morning was more heartbreaking testimony. The medical examiner, Theodore Brown, was on the stand, and he is going to recap for us again, because some of us haven't heard it, how horrible the death of Tyrone Hassel III was. Well, when you hear the medical examiner, Roger Foley, and you know that I'm married to one Dr. Michael Baden, but when you hear them testify in any case about a life being ended, it's tragic. And here, the medical examiner said there were basically 3 fatal wounds, but the 2 I'm interested in is one is above the left eyebrow of the face. So that means that Tyrone may have been looking at his killer. The other one is behind the right ear, which, he may not have. And there's another fatal one, but right now I'm not going to talk about that. Then there were two other ones, a graze wound that we don't know if it came first or second, and one in the shoulder. So, Roger, can you from the gun, if you had this autopsy report from the gunshot wounds and you're the prosecutor, would you make a big deal out of the fact that Hassel, I wanted to say Harrison, Mr. Hassel may have seen his killer? I think I would. I mean, I would talk about it because I think that close proximity to the face, Linda, that 1 to 3 feet away, if he looks, he's getting shot instantaneously, and then there's another shot, and there's another shot, and he's going down, and then there's a couple grazing shots, so you don't know if they were aimed downward or not. So it's very highly likely that Sergeant Hassel saw his killer and recognized his killer. Which makes it, in my opinion, worse when you think about that, and probably Cuellar, if he is the killer, would like to vote. But when we say 1 to 3 feet, if I have a pen in my hand, what we're saying is that the tip of the gun is 1 to 3 feet away, so that the person who is doing the shooting, here's a pen in my hand, I don't know if you can see it, but if it's 1 to 3 feet, kind of out of the picture here, I'm back here, and it's measured by the end of the gun. So the shooter may have been a little bit further away, correct? Sure, like standing distance, like when we were communicating, maybe 5 feet from the person, but basically standing directly to the front of them or slightly to the side. Which makes it clear that, indeed, the likelihood that Sergeant Hassel saw his killer, the lover of his wife, just before he died. Let's go to break and think about that.
So that is the member of the U.S. military who can tell us that, Roger Foley, my guest of the day, that Kemia Hassel and her lover, indirectly, he would receive at least initially $100,000, maybe $500,000 likely. And I have some dates for you, Roger. He died on New Year's Eve. The money came to her on January 7th because it's immediate, so the family does not suffer. And on January 12th, she is arrested. So, follow the money. What does that tell you?
Well, it definitely tells you that the government's going to be looking for that money back. But I hope in all sincereness that little boy, Chunk, who's now growing up without a mother, without a father, a deceased father, and a mother in prison, because of what the grandmother even indicated was that demonic evil hate that led to this killing. I hope that this child who now doesn't have parents receives some of that money to help with his education and his future.
Yeah, you know, bringing it back to the mother, talking about it, and you know, as we know, Kemia told her mother it was about the money, and she's sorry, but it was about the money. But the jury hears the mom of this woman say it's demonic, that she says it's hate, that it's evil, right? Meaning her daughter is also demonic, evil, and hateful. When they go into that jury room, do you think that Kemia Harris is going to have anyone who said, oh yeah, I kind of like this little young lady, you know, maybe she was put upon by the police?
No, I mean, her own mother's basically calling her out on the phone, knowing it's a recorded call, saying, I'm disappointed, I'm outraged. You could have just got a divorce. You could have went to your non-commissioned officer and said that you wanted to get a divorce. Like, people do that in the military. You didn't have to kill the guy. You didn't have to eliminate the father of your child. It's demonic.
Well, you know what? Let's listen to more, because there was a responding officer to the scene. His name is Michael Lanier. And as you know, us defense attorneys do get a partner trial once in a while. We get to cross-examine. So let's listen to the cross-examination, however it could be, of the responding EMT officer. Really, they're usually both. All right, Roger Foley, I have some news for you and our viewers. While we were listening to that short clip, guess what? The defendant, Kemia Hassel, was asked by the court, will you testify? And she said, to a surprise, no. Second thing that happened, the defense rested. And guess what? We got to go right back into court because there are closings going on. Roger Foley, so much to think about. The prosecutor, Stephen Perangeli, just said that in the calls with the mom that he played today in front of the jury, that she asked her daughter, did someone coerce you to say that? In other words, confess. And the daughter, who was on trial, Kemia Hassel, said, no, no one coerced me. And the mother said, it's like a dream. I'm going to ask you again, did someone coerce me? And she said, no, no one coerced me. Then also the prosecutor mentioned that today they had, of course, the medical examiner. Today they also had Snapchat deletions by Kemia Hassel. It's a day for the prosecutor, isn't it?
I mean, they just landed the super punch, and I think the defense is down for the count, Linda. I mean, they put such a concise case together that, I mean, I don't see any escape for the defense. Right,
and you are Golden Glove Championship, so that's why we're doing the punching here. And if I'm taking it as the defense. I don't have a way out of this because the defense opened with the fact that there were false confessions but didn't put on an expert. If they don't put on an expert, like in the Brendan Dassey case, which many believe is a false confession, making of a murderer, or the Central Park exonerated 5, the kids confessed while they were in custody, out of custody, they said, no, we didn't do it. That's a big difference here, isn't it?
You know, we're talking about boxing. It's like Roberto Duran in 1984 against Sugar Ray Leonard saying no mas. The defense just stopped. How do you say that there's a defense and not put on a defense expert to talk about a falsified confession or a coerced confession? It just doesn't make sense. I'm sure the jury's going, wait, isn't there more? Isn't there more? Isn't there more?
Well, Roger, we have to take a quick break, okay? And we're going to find out at the end when the defense sums up, is there more? But no mas, Kemia Hassel, Tyrone Hassel III, the victim, may be the answer.